Good.
Welcome back, you guys. It is Friday evening, and it's been a while since we've done this. Let's be frank. Welcome back to the show. I know we've kind of been on a hiatus, I would say. Your thoughts on the hiatus?
Yeah, man. We haven't been together since the Super Bowl was, I think, our last show together that we did. And I told you right before we came on, I have not been anywhere near any sports. I've seen it here and there. I've seen the XFL and the USFLA or whatever it's
Yeah,
called.
USFL, I think it is
Yeah,
now.
that seems to be getting a little bit of traction out there with people that are looking for football. Since
Yes.
there's no college or professional football going on right now, so that's something pretty cool. The Lakers and the NBA playoffs are going on. My Milwaukee Bucks was bounced by your Miami Heat. That would have been a fun thing to talk about if we were meeting together prior to that. It would have been fun doing the Fs for that one, missed predictions.
Yes.
But my bracket's all busted now, so anyway.
Man, brackets have been busted. NCAA tournament passed us by. March Madness just went right out through the window. We just hit the draft last night officially. So let's start with some NFL surprises first, since it's kind of like fresh, it's kind of relevant in people's heads right now. So let's talk about Bryce Young real quick. All right, Bryce Young went number 1 overall pick last night, right?
Is Bryce Young the one where they're all talking about his dad slapping his girlfriend's butt?
Yes. And it was funny because obviously it was funny because I saw it this evening. Buda Baker, which is the cornerback for the Arizona Cardinals tire fire.
Yeah.
He was like he was on Twitter. He was like, "Yo, that was me." He's like, "I had to check him." He's like, "But I didn't grow up with no dad, so I ain't about it."
Yeah, man, that's pretty wild. Anyway, we could dive into that a little bit later.
Yeah.
You mentioned that, and that was the only thing I saw on Twitter about the draft. So,
so let's talk about that real quick. All right, so Bryce Young, right? He went number 1 overall pick. They had this new S2, the Wonderlic test, which was done by the quarterbacks back in the day, and now you have the S2 test, which is a more adaptive test, shows people how they truly act. A lot of other sports are also picking it up too. I did some research on it and stuff like that too. The military's looking at picking it up. Firefighters, police officers. So it's super accurate in the way that their players are developed and how they react and how they process information and their certain tendencies they do have and how they process those types of information. So one quick cool fact about it is since they've moved over from the Wonderlic over to the S2 test, it is showing teams better statistics and better money for their pick. So if you look at Brock Purdy last year, even though yes he was the last pick, he had one of the highest S2 ratings, and look how that developed.
Dude, he was a stud all the way until he got hurt, man. I was Brock Purdy all the way last year. If you were following us earlier in the year.
Correct. So as we know, CJ Stroud was supposed to be the number 1 pick. There was a lot of big back and forth. He scored the lowest out of all the quarterbacks. He scored a 19. There was a lot of memes going on because he scored the lowest. So it was that like, oh my God, what do I score? The average score was about a 35 this past year.
What's the highest? I mean, what's the? I don't even know the scale. So obviously 0 to
75.
Okay.
75. Bryce Young scored a 56.
Okay.
So now, and the only reason why I bring up Bryce Young is I got a lot of Carolina Panther fans that follow me and a lot of other people that are real big into that area there. Now, we go back and forth, and my biggest question has been like, okay, he's only 5'10". Okay, I'm 5'8". All right, your linemen are about 6'5", 6'6", right?
Yeah, big dudes.
So how do you see over the line? Are you making more of that pre-read snap, walking to the line, and whatever you got is what you got?
I would imagine that is how it would have to work out for someone that would have that, with 6'5" guys standing in front of you. You're either looking in between the players or you can see the flats. But outside of that, you're going to have to know where your players have to be in position and how the defense is. So it's going to be a lot of defensive reading on the way up to the snap and looking at the adjustments the defense is making prior to that snap. So I don't know. I don't know how that will work out. Not saying that, shorter quarterbacks have not been successful. I mean, look at Drew Brees, for example. He's not the very tall quarterback, but he has shown to have success. So, whether he's able to, they utilize him in a shotgun position or rolling out, things like that to help open up the field would be interesting to see how they go, and what direction they go with him in.
And I think you picked perfect. And I think what surprised a lot of people after Bryce Young was the Houston Texans. Now, as you know, they got D'Amico Ryan, your guys' defensive coordinator. He wanted to make a big splash.
Go ahead and miss that dude.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, but you did get Steve Wilkes, which is a prominent defensive coordinator.
Oh, yeah. Still, I mean, come on, though.
It's D'Amico Ryan. I get it for sure. So let's think about that. All right, so they go ahead, draft their quarterback, right? So they end up picking up, and I got it right here. They picked up C.J. Stroud. Obviously, C.J. Stroud has that typical body frame and what they look for in a quarterback. But obviously, we know C.J. Stroud didn't score very well in the S2 test. So maybe he might be that outlier. Maybe he might not just be a good test taker. I don't know. No one knows. But then on top of that, they trade to get to the number 3 pick and pick up a Will Anderson, which was a linebacker out of Alabama. So they got their quarterback, and they went and got their staple defensive player to move into the D'Amico Ryan era. So what do you think thoughts are on moving? Because I thought it was, I don't think you've seen a lot of teams actually go from number 2 and then trade out of and somehow get the 3rd pick right after it to get their players. So what's your thoughts on that?
That's just kind of brilliant game planning, behind the scenes. A lot of times you don't get the front office doesn't get a whole lot of credit a lot of times on how they're able to maneuver in drafts and things like that, and able to either sell down their draft pick and still find a way to come back up and draft. Philadelphia was famous for this back in the 2000s, early 2000s, and even into the 20 teens there as well, where they were able to get rid of a draft pick, drop down, and somehow end up with like 3 draft picks in the first round. I don't know. That dude's just the guy that the GM for the Eagles is just amazing. Hugh Laurie, or is that the owner? Anyway, whoever the GM was at the time was just brilliant and able to manipulate the draft the way he did, and always being able to find those gems. And so, these people don't get enough credit when they're in there, but they do get a ton of blame, though, don't they?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. 100% they do. I'll tell you one player that really surprised me in yesterday's draft. I didn't make it all the way through the whole draft. I made it about pick 21. And I decided to take a nap because I had to work the next day, unfortunately.
Yeah, don't blame me. What time did it finish?
Almost midnight.
Yeah, I was out.
It was nap time, which was quarterback Anthony Richardson out of Florida.
AR-15.
Yes, he had a great Columbine, as everyone knows. His bench. He's a freakish athlete. Obviously, me being a Florida fan and watched him play last season, I wasn't super impressed with him. I thought he was going to go to Tennessee, somewhere where I thought that he could be an understudy, not have to, go
Start
right away.
Yeah,
like a Pittsburgh maybe, or a Seattle.
Yeah.
Because he has those tendencies like a Russell Wilson, like a Ben Roethlisberger. Even though they got Kenny Pickett, he could be that, still that, two-way quarterback. But Indianapolis ends up taking him, which I had Will Levis going to Tennessee, which he did end up going to Tennessee just a few minutes ago. Obviously, there was a bunch of hype on him getting drafted. But on Anthony Richardson, with him going to Indianapolis, being in the AFC South, you got Derrick Henry. Now you've got a fresh Houston Texans team with D'Amico Ryan there and them having their franchise quarterback. You've got Trevor Lawrence coming back, with Doug Peterson and their team there. And then also you have you got Tennessee, Houston, Jacksonville, Indianapolis. So I mean, what's your thoughts on Anthony Richardson? I know you're not real big on college, but just seeing like what they decided to do, because obviously Caleb Williams is coming out of USC next year. And the great thing about that portion there too is our boy Cliff Kingsbury is going to be his quarterback coach this coming year.
Oh well, it's what do you want to know more about? I mean, on his college career, I think he was okay at best. I don't think he was not your top tier stud in college.
Okay.
But he does have all of the traits that could translate well over to the NFL. Who did he go to, by the way, again? You said
Indianapolis.
The Colts.
Yeah.
He's going to probably end up starting. It's a rough situation with the Colts because they're in the transition stage with head coaches as well.
Correct.
And everything that's going on there. There's a lot of dysfunction in that facility right now. Who did they end up getting a new coach, or did they decide with Jeff Saturday again?
No. They left the Jeff Saturday experiment and left the wave. So I mean, you still got a bunch of previous head coaches that are still on that staff still. But I mean, I think you make a great point with the head coaching situation, just how they had a pretty good head coach, which was Frank Wright before that.
Yeah. So you're going to put him into this situation. I don't think it's conducive to him. I think that again, the disorganization, the lack of strong leadership. I like referencing last year. I like referencing a lot to the head coach out of Doug Peterson, out of Jacksonville. What he was able to do, bring that culture, that winning culture, that discipline that franchise needed. We see what they did, last year and this last season, and what he's been able to do with that personnel that's on that staff because of his strong leadership. And I don't see that in Indianapolis. So I see AR going into the situation behind the 8 ball already, and seeing how he's able to develop. If he's allowed to have all of this kind of freedom, if you will, to do whatever he wants, because there isn't really a strong culture built there. And then you finally get a coach that comes in and puts the hammer down. You're going to see a lot of conflict and a lot of friction, and I don't think it's going to work out well for him. So my short-term prediction is that he may look at he'll win some games early on, but I don't see him being a top-tier quarterback in an NFL unless he is surrounded by good people in that organization that is going to provide that culture.
Okay, I think it's a good way to look at it. I know with that being there, there was a lot of speculation with that. The other person was how Seattle went ahead and addressed their defensive issues they had. They went and got Devin Witherspoon out of Illinois, who was supposed to be one of the top cornerbacks in this year's draft, and then went ahead and got a linebacker after that. But that's in a nutshell. I mean, the draft obviously is still going. There was a lot of trades yesterday, and it just was kind of all over the place. And I think maybe there's a possible way to speed up the draft. I mean, what's your thoughts on just the overall draft structure? Do you think it should be, a little faster, do you think? Or do you think like they've got a pretty good grasp on it?
I think they have pretty big. I mean, it's pretty. It's like an event, and everyone looks forward to it. So I don't think there needs to be much tweaking to it. I mean, the most excitement is always within the top 10. That's where you probably have your bulk of your viewers on draft day. On the first day of draft is that top 10 draft, and people probably kind of fade out after that top 10 is done. And see how that goes, because obviously if your team only has one draft pick, you might only tune in to when your team's going to pick. So, it is what it is. I think it's fine the way it is. I don't necessarily would like to see it change at all. Really. Okay. I think it's okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think like for me, like, being a Jacksonville fan, like we were supposed to draft at 24. They ended up turning back actually twice. We didn't draft till 27.
Yeah.
We took an offensive tackle out of Oklahoma, which is one of the best tackles for the offensive lineman, due to the fact that Cam Robinson actually is getting suspended. We just don't know how many games he's being suspended for PED use. So, which is kind of a rough portion for us, unfortunately.
How long is he going to be suspended for?
We don't know yet. They said it was multiple drug tests that he did fail.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have been trolling Buda Baker because he wants to leave Arizona, and I've like been trolling him on Twitter. I'm like, hey man, you should come to Jacksonville. Hey man, you should come to Jacksonville. I did get Cisco, which is our safety. He did like one of my tweets, so I'm like, yeah.
Nice.
So let's talk about Lamar Jackson. And I know I've been banging on Lamar Jackson. I've been on record.
Dude, you've been talking about Lamar Jackson for the last like 6 months.
Yes, I know. So, what's your thoughts on him getting paid?
I guess it paid for him to hold out the way he did. He finally got the payoff he was looking for, and he gets to stay with the Ravens. So, if that's what his end goal truly was, then more power to him. If that's what he was really after, everyone has different ways of going about trying to get themselves pay, and he thought that would be the best way for him. And as of right now, he is the highest paid player in the NFL. Even if it's only a couple million more than a few other players, I mean, he got a lot of guaranteed money. So I mean, he's
Kyler Murray has more guaranteed money than he does actually.
Well, regardless, that's more guaranteed money than you and I will ever see.
So true. True.
So I mean, he's pretty set. He's set up for life if he manages it well, and he can take care of his family. So I guess he can go out and focus on winning a championship now.
Fair enough. I mean, so we talk about championship, all right? And you're talking about now you are in the hardest conference in the league, the AFC.
Yep.
It is fine, and as you and I both know, and as you follow the league a little longer than I have, it's really shifted. I felt like always the NFC had better players, better, just stability when it comes to more major teams. And now it's almost like in the NFC, you got, all right, San Francisco, Philadelphia, maybe Seattle. Who else?
The Giants?
I mean, they got to get through Philly. They're in the same division.
Yeah, okay. I would say the Packers, but they just lost Aaron Rodgers, so
that's like Jordan Love becomes the next, like, I mean, but
the Bears might have a chance of winning the division now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and the Bears got some. I mean, they got some players. The Bears, you got some players.
Yeah, the Bears might have a chance now. They haven't won a division in quite some time.
Yeah, the Bears.
The Bears might be their year. Never know. It might be their year.
So let's talk about the AFC. So they're like, oh well, Lamar's got to make it to the Super Bowl now.
No,
because he got like I don't see him making it to the Super Bowl.
He better make it competitive though. He better be a deep run into playoffs. The Ravens need to be at least one of the last teams standing, the top 4 teams standing in the playoffs.
For the next 5 years.
Yeah, for at least the next 5 years.
At least. All right, so you've got Pittsburgh in your division. You've got Cincinnati in your division.
Cleveland. You can't count out Cleveland now with what's his face over there?
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah,
Deshaun Watson season now.
Get a full season. So it's going to be a competitive division. So they have to worry about those teams. They got to play them 6 times. So that's 6, right?
Yep.
6 times. So that's 6 times they got to play these teams. You got to play those guys twice each. Yep. So it's going to be very competitive,
And so if you think about just like the next 5 years, like what teams would you expect to see in the AFC going to the playoffs? What Kansas City,
Cincinnati,
San Diego,
Buffalo.
Yeah, Buffalo just got better.
Miami,
too. They got that tight end.
Miami.
The Jets.
Yeah, the Jets are. We haven't got to.
We haven't got to Aaron Rodgers yet. But
I say Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers now.
Jacksonville.
As long as Aaron Rodgers don't follow in the footsteps of Brett Favre, and he gets some massage from some trainer, then some hanky panky goes down. If he doesn't do that, maybe he'll end up in the Vikings next year, the year after.
and then you've got Jacksonville, and then maybe Tennessee still.
Tennessee, yeah. That AFC is brutal, man. Denver.
Oh yeah, we did.
I'm telling you. And
then the Raiders, Raiders.
I told you the last time we were on together when we were talking NFL. I said don't count out Denver. I see a big comeback for Russell Wilson. I see it. I feel it, man. I feel it.
You feel it.
Russell Wilson is going to have a comeback player of the year award at least. I'm not saying he's going to make it to the Super Bowl or anything like that, but look out. They're going to make some noise as long as he stays healthy, obviously,
Okay. So in saying that real quick, so you're saying that he needs to be the last four teams to be worth that?
Who?
Lamar,
yes. At least the last 4 teams in the AFC. So,
but we just named those teams off the top of my head.
I know. I'm just telling you.
So what are you saying? Like each team, so remember back in the 2000s, like I remember when like Indianapolis, Jacksonville, like my division was super stacked, and you weren't winning division unless you won 13 games.
Yeah.
13, 14 games.
Mm-hmm.
So are you saying that they might have to, like, teams are going to be like
they're going to have to? Either that is going to be a such beat up division. Your top team may only have 13 wins, but they're going to be the toughest one to beat in the Super Bowl from the AFC. Whoever comes out of the AFC is going to win the Super Bowl the next 5 years, possibly.
So it's almost like the 90s.
How the NFC dominated.
There you go.
It was like the Cowboys and 49ers. Whoever won that game, you knew was going to be the Super Bowl champion. That was the Super Bowl. The NFC Championship was the Super Bowl. When you had Dallas and the Redskins going at it together, and they're Dallas and the Giants, and 49ers, Giants, 49ers, Redskins. Whoever won those games was going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and that's what we're going to see with the AFC the next 5 years. I think is whoever comes out of the AFC, they're playing the hardest teams. They're going to
win.
They're going to win. They're going to win. I mean, look what happened to Philadelphia. They were the best team in the NFL, or in the NFC at least last year.
Yes,
and they lost to a hurt Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City Chiefs. The Super Bowl was Kansas City, Cincinnati.
It's almost like the year prior when Buffalo and Kansas City went at it, and they had that epic game for 7 touchdowns and 0 interceptions.
Yeah.
And, and they rolled straight through the Super Bowl.
Right. That's what you're going to see the next 5 years, I believe. I don't think we'll see an NFC.
That means tickets are going
to be expensive. Champion come out of the NFC for the next few years. Hey, Wrinkly Brian. Welcome, man.
Were you?
I don't know if he's talking to you or me. We're
good, Brian. Glad to see you. The show was wondering. Oh, where you went? Oh, yeah. I've been super busy. Unfortunately, life gets in the way. Unfortunately, sometimes, and my real job gets in the way sometimes. But we are here, and I'm making this rolling. But anyways, we appreciate you, Brian. Leave some comments on if there's anything you want us to talk about. But we're hitting Brian. Yes, Brian. On the NFL or NBA. So let's talk about Aaron Rodgers as we just finished the AFC. Let's talk about Aaron Rodgers finally going to Jets.
It's the AFC. We're still talking about the AFC. See?
Oh yeah, good point.
We're still talking about the AFC.
All right, so we're finally talking about the Jets.
Okay, who's his weapons? Who does he have around him now?
I mean, he's had a bunch of young players, people or receivers. He did end up getting like 2 of his receivers from the Packers to go over to the Jets.
I don't know with the Jets, man. They always they make a big splash like this, right? They make a big splash. They haven't been relevant. The Jets haven't been relevant since Mark Sanchez and the butt fumble. Wow. They haven't been relevant since then. They get you all excited like they're going to do something. I mean, Rex Ryan and Mark Sanchez, they had those 2 back-to-back AFC championship runs, and then it was nothing after that, right? And prior to that, you had Vinny Testaverde as the most notable quarterback before that, and then you have to go all the way back to Broadway Joe, man. That was their only Super Bowl, by the way, and you have to wonder. Is Aaron Rodgers going to be able to get them over the hump? And I don't see it in that AFC. I really don't. I really do not see it happening. I don't see it. Aaron Rodgers taking the Jets to the Super Bowl. I don't see it. There's no path that I can look at to see them go to. They got to deal with a tough Miami team now. They also got to deal with a resurgent New England team. that Bill
That's
Belichick
right.
that
Bill
Bill
O'Brien.
Belichick is continuing to roll with. So it's not going to be a cakewalk for him in the AFC. It was probably the worst place he could go if he was looking to win a Super Bowl. He's not going to win it coming out of the Jets in the NFC East. I don't even see him winning the division with them.
Yeah, I think it's going to be rough. I think
like you get to play the Bears,
and the Lions.
and the Lions. No, dude. No, he got some real competition now. Yeah. I'm telling you, man. I don't see it for him. I don't know what you think.
No, I'm right there with you, and obviously, like I'm a little biased because Jacksonville did get Calvin Ridley. You know, he is unsuspended now. He is a full-fledged go, and I mean, everybody that talks about Calvin, and he's a Class A talent, a great run route. So now you give him another wide receiver. Evan Ingram's coming back for a full offseason now. The tight end, Zay Jones, and the rest of the guys are coming back. Like, and you can't count out Jacksonville whatsoever. Like, bro, like the AFC, I think you're right. Is whoever comes out of the AFC is going to win.
Yeah, that's how I look at it right now, based off of the teams, the personnel, the quarterbacks. It's all in the AFC. Don't count out Tom Brady. He might come back too. That was my long theory. Remember?
I mean, he's hinted here and there, like on Twitter, like.
Maybe hey, maybe Brady will be back before. I tell you, look out! Right before preseason, he's going to pop in somewhere and say, "Hey, I'm back."
And this Tua like abruptly retires.
Yeah, he'd be Miami's quarterback.
He could. He's a total free agent.
Yeah, I'm just telling you.
I mean, Jordan came back from retirement. I mean,
yeah. We'll see. Tom Brady. Yeah. Tom Brady. Don't forget AFC. Back to the AFC East.
And he'd actually have a pretty stacked team, actually.
Yeah, I know.
He just had to like figure out how to get the ball to Tyreek Hill is the only thing.
Screenplays, baby.
That's because he's not gonna be able to throw him in stride.
Yeah, screenplays or quick slants.
Yeah. So that'd be pretty interesting, actually. That would be.
So
let's shift, goes to Miami.
Let's shift gears to the NBA because there's a lot happening in the NBA right now.
Yes.
And before we dive in to the games and stuff, I had this story I wanted to share with you.
Okay.
And I just wanted to tell you, you making this sports station because of what you were upset with them not focusing on the actual sports and them focusing on everything else that really doesn't matter when it comes to sports is one of the reasons you started this whole channel. And Phil Jackson agrees with you, by the way. Didn't know if you do that or not. But Phil Jackson has endorsed Jive Turkey.
There it is.
Whether he knows it or not, he's endorsed this show. So let me pull this up for you to show you and the audience here. This is coming from Legion Hoops over here on Twitter. It says, Phil Jackson says he hasn't watched the NBA since the bubble year. They even had slogans on the floor. And the baseline, it was trying to bring a certain audience to the game. And I didn't know if it was turning other people off. People want to see sports as non-political, Phil Jackson said. Phil Jackson hasn't watched the NBA since the bubble.
Man,
because of the politics.
He got to see Jimmy Butler play at least in the finals.
Yeah, he did. He did. So what's your reaction to that? Because
so and it's funny because I've spoken to a lot of my affiliates as well as and a lot of my buddies and everything like that. And they're all in agreement with the same thing of like, we need to focus on the players and the plays and all those great things that those individuals are doing and not having to worry about the politics and the.
You know what I think it is, Joe?
What's that?
Is that these reporters that come out of journalism school aren't able to hack it in the political sphere of politics, covering politics for major news corporations. And they end up getting these contracts with ESPN and these other networks. And so they go ahead and bring that type of reporting to the sports world, which completely derails it. It alienates a lot of consumers. I was one of those individuals that was alienated by it. And the only reason I'm back is because I wanted to help you with this endeavor. And that's why I've kind of invested a little bit more time back into watching this stuff. But when I saw this quote by Phil Jackson, I said, exactly. And I thought of you when I saw the quote.
Well, I appreciate that, Phil Jackson. We do appreciate you bringing 6 championships with Michael Jordan and another 5 with Kobe Bryant, the late Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace. We definitely appreciate those times, and I'm glad that he feels the same way, just like I do, and you do, and everyone else does. I think that's the most important thing. Is that portion there? Did you by chance see the Giannis exit interview?
I did not. I knew they got bounced by the Bucks, who I was truly rooting for because I like Giannis Antetokounmpo, or whatever how you say his last name.
Antetokounmpo.
Yes, him.
That guy.
And I really wanted. I just think he's a great overall guy to begin with. And he looks like he's very passionate about basketball and wants to win championships and wants to bring it to the city of Milwaukee and he's expressed interest in ending his career in Milwaukee. He doesn't want to go around chasing other players to build championship teams. He wants his championship team there in Milwaukee. And kind of similar to what Miami has been doing, by the way. Miami, ever since they've broken away from the LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh super team, if you will, has gotten back to focusing back on the draft, focusing on good free agent moves, and building around their superstar.
Mm-hmm.
And
Jimmy Buckets.
Yeah, Jimmy Buckets. And dude, did he have a playoff series or what, man? They were not predicted to get out of the first round, and they shocked everybody, took in at 5 games against Milwaukee, and coming back in game 5 down by 20 and willing his team back. You cannot coach willing the will of a player. You cannot coach that. That last little bit to get you over that hump, it's uncoachable. That comes from your heart, man. That comes from you playing it and believing in your team, believing in your teammates and what you're able to do, and you saying, we're not going home. We're not going back to Miami to play another game. We're going to end it tonight.
And you're 100% right, man. Like, Jimmy Butler's one of the most underrated NBA superstars. He is playoff Jimmy. He is Jimmy Buckets. That's why he has that nickname. And I actually watched that game because it went into overtime. Thank you so much. Went into overtime, and
I saw you tweeting about it.
Man, I was on there.
You're down by 20. It's all good though. You go get it, Jimmy. Just have a good game. I kept following your tweets. I'm like, oh, it's a game again. Uh-oh.
It was great to see it. It was phenomenal to see Jimmy Butler and that epic play of how, like you would know because you played the game, how you defend the rim and how Strauss is able to throw it perfectly almost to where only Jimmy can get the ball to put it back up. He's in midair hitting it up.
No. It's even more than that. So you got one of the best paint defenders, Brook Lopez, in the center position for the Bucks. He has the position. It's a lob pass. It's late. Jimmy jumps too early for it. So he's in there. He catches it on the down. And when he shoots, he's falling even further back and shoots it over Brook Lopez for the game winner. You can't teach that, man. That's all will. That's wanting that we're not going back to Miami to play another game against the Bucks.
No, and the crazier part was there was some talk on the Heat bench that Eric Spoelstra wanted to call a different play, and Jimmy told him no. I want to go by the rim, and Coach Spoelstra, the great coach that he is, said, "All right, Jimmy, you do it."
Well,
and he trusted his player.
What did Coach Spoelstra have to lose? He knew that even if they lost that game, they were going back to Miami.
Correct.
So giving Jimmy that advice, knowing that, listening to your player who's on the floor right now and seeing that, I mean, it's no different than game 6 in Utah with Michael Jordan against the Jazz, and they after they stole the ball, Jordan stole the ball from the mailman, went down and they came back up the court. Instead of calling timeout, he looks at Jordan. Jordan looks at him, and they know it'll be better not for them to have a timeout to set a defense. Go ahead and run the play. And we see that, championship Jordan right there in form.
Yeah,
not comparing the two as far as he's saying he's Jordan, but that's good player coach relationship right there, where the coach is able to understand, okay, what are you seeing out there, Jimmy? What do you see? And being able to say, okay, yeah, that sounds like a better play. Let's run that then.
And the crazier part, with Victor Oladipo coming, is injured and is out for the rest of the season. Tyler Hero is out till if they make it to the finals, he'll be able to start in the finals again if we do make it back. So I mean, with a lot of other players having to step up, getting Kevin Love at the trading deadline, being able to get him in. I mean, Kyle Lowry actually staying healthy and coming out. Bam Adebayo actually fouled out of that game, which is pretty crazy to see Bam come out and be fouled out. And like, oh my God, like that's your center. But having other players come around, and that's why you had that Udonis Haslem still there.
Mm-hmm.
Even though this is his last run, but that cohesion that he has and being able to give that championship push, but also Kevin Love being able to provide that as well.
Yeah, but look at also, let's give some credit to Pat Riley too in the front office and making those personnel moves right before the trade deadlines and stuff like that, and getting these pieces put in there for this potential championship run and a potential rematch of the LA Lakers won't be in the bubble this time. And I told you when we discussed this a few months ago that Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat would have won that championship if it had not been played in the bubble in 2020. If they were playing at home with fans in the stands, Miami would have won that championship. And I'm not even a Heat fan.
I know you're not. And that was the crazier part about it is like we're getting ready to go to play the Knicks. But just going back to that Bucks and Miami rematch, if you think about it, they've been – I mean, it doesn't just go back to Giannis Antetokounmpo in the bubble when they built the wall to beat Giannis to go play the Celtics in that next round. But if you think about it, you're talking about almost 4 years worth of them going back and forth and beating them in the playoffs, and this bounces, Miami bounces them, and then they come back and they get bounced. And it's been going back and forth. You can go back to the early 2000s when Dwayne Wade was there and Brandon Jennings was there in playing, going back and forth. I never wanted to see the Bucks play Miami because I know how much history there is with those two teams. Even though Milwaukee's a small market team, I mean, there's still a lot of bad blood between those two teams. And, Jimmy just, man, watching him play in Game 4 and Game 5 and just seeing the way he's able to take the game over is just, like you said, you can't teach that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this, the Miami Heat, for the most part, is almost an underrated team where nobody talks about them ever since LeBron and the Dwayne Wade and Bosh all left. They really don't get talked a lot about or at least respectfully. A lot of them, people write them off pretty quickly, and they don't understand of how well this team has played. Back in we called the 2020 bubble. Back then when they were able to get to the championship, and then in between then and now, it's only been 4 years. Right. It's not been that long. And Jimmy continues to impress, continues to grow as a leader on the floor and showing that he is capable to lead this team to a championship. So I'm excited for Jimmy Butler. I'm actually going to be rooting for Miami throughout the rest of the playoffs because I really don't like any other team. Well, I do kind of like the Celtics, but I like what Jimmy Butler's been doing. So I'm going with Miami. So let's go ahead and put that up on the screen here.
All righty. So we got the bracket.
We got the bracket going on here. So let's go ahead and take a look. Let me increase the size here a little bit for us.
All right.
All right. So we got here the first top, obviously, broke everyone's bracket. It's Miami over Milwaukee.
Yep.
So now Miami will be playing New York. New York, also the underdog, coming in and beating the top four, the rated for Cleveland Cavaliers. They also 1-5. Philadelphia taking care of business, taking out Brooklyn, and they'll be playing Boston, who actually went the most games against Atlanta in the East. So now we got here, we'll focus on the East before we move over to the West. We have Miami and New York, and we got Philly and Boston. And of course, right now, New York will have home court advantage through this round. What do you think? What's your thoughts?
Obviously, I'm going with Miami on this bracket here. I think it's going to go to 6 games. I mean, but their best player that can guard Jimmy is hurt right now. So if you can't guard Jimmy's going to go for 50. That's just how he is. That's just how he's wired. Hopefully, I mean, game 1 starts on Sunday. So we're going to see it's they're like, oh, it's Madison Square Garden, da-da-da-da. Jimmy's already been to the NBA Finals. He's played in multiple playoffs. He was in that run with 76ers when Toronto made their run to the championship.
Yep.
You know, he's been to a Eastern Conference championship. You know, so his team is built for this. Like they are built for this.
Yeah.
It's Eric Spoelstra. I mean, come on. So I think it's going to go to 6. And then I think Philly, I would like to see another rematch between Boston and Miami again, because Boston is obviously the ones that beat Miami to go back to the championship just the other year ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that would be a great rematch again.
So you think Boston will beat Philly?
Only if Joel Embiid isn't healthy.
Okay. All
Your
right.
thoughts?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I said, I would like to see Boston advance. I like Boston. And of course I see Miami. I already told you I want to see Miami win it all now. So I see them over New York, and moving on. And that Boston Miami series, if they meet up, will go 7. I think it will be a 7-game series. Miami, New York, I think it will go 5. I don't think it'll go 6. I think it'll go 5. I think Miami will take care of business. They'll get off to a pretty good. They'll win one in New York, and then they'll take care of business at home. So
yeah, and I think the faster they can finish this series, which will be better for the team.
Yeah, better for Jimmy too. Give him a little bit of rest.
He needs that rest, man.
Yeah,
he plays every minute. He plays super hard, which is awesome to see that. So, and Philadelphia, the only reason why I wouldn't want to see Philadelphia is because you got James Harden running the point.
Yeah,
James Harden is a walking bucket himself.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. So okay, let's go ahead and look at the West here.
West is nowhere near done.
Yeah,
nowhere near done.
So here we got Denver was able to advance already. They took care of Minnesota in 5 games, and they are next round. Phoenix took care of L.A. Clippers, not the L.A. Lakers, took care of the Clippers in 5 games as well. So it'll be Denver, Phoenix next round. And then we got the bottom half down here. We got Grizzlies struggling to put away the Lakers. They've allowed the Lakers to get out to a 2-game lead out there. So it's 3-1. The Lakers coming in on the 7th. And then, of course, we got Sacramento and Golden State, going back and forth over there. Looks like Golden State's trying to move on. That would be an interesting series. Golden State versus the LA Lakers on the next in the next round. If it's projected the way it looks right now, Golden State moving on and LA Lakers moving on, that will be a matchup to watch. So let's go ahead and talk about these before we get into the next round. Let's talk about these 2 final series over here. We got Sacramento and Golden State, with Golden State up 3-2. What's your prediction in this?
Man, I really want Sacramento to light the beam tonight. I really want them to light the beam. That's their thing. They light the beam. Obviously. So I want to see a 7-game series. I would like to see Sacramento beat Golden State just because how I like to troll Draymond Green. And
I cannot stand Draymond
Green. And he had this shirt on his Twitter account was like, "Don't let us win again." And I'm like, "All right, cool. You deserve a first round exit just for that."
Yeah, Draymond Green, man, that dude just fanboys over LeBron is sick, man.
Did you see the flagrant foul that he got called, that he got ejected for, that he used Sabonis' sternum as a springboard?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that real quick? Do you think he deserved to get suspended, and did you believe he deserved the flagrant foul as well?
He deserved a flagrant foul. I didn't think he deserved to get suspended. Let these guys play in the playoffs, man. You could have thrown him out that gave him the flagrant foul, maybe even thrown him out that game, but not suspend him anymore of the series or whatever.
I mean, it didn't help them anyways because they didn't win that game anyways. The next game going into Golden State. So I think I would like to see this a 7-game series. I hope Sacramento wins tonight.
What about LA Memphis?
Man, hey, LeBron's putting it away tonight.
You think so?
I think LeBron's gonna put. Oh well, I mean,
they're in Memphis, aren't they?
Yeah, no, they just flew back to.
Okay.
To
LA.
Yeah. So fun fact on that, obviously, I know you saw our group chat, but our Zars was partnering with the Los Angeles Lakers while they were in Memphis.
They gave him COVID. I bet you it was the Lakers. I bet you it was LeBron that gave him COVID.
LeBron, did you give them COVID? Did you give our brother COVID?
He wanted an autograph, man. He didn't want COVID.
Yeah, he didn't want COVID. He just wanted to hang out.
So you think they put him away then tonight?
I think they do.
Okay.
I think they do. And I think the only way they come out of the West is if Anthony Davis stays healthy. I don't like Anthony Davis. I think he needs to be traded. That's just my personal opinion. But
let me ask you this real quick before we move on to the next round here. If LeBron James does not win a championship this round, does that take away from him winning the scoring title or the scoring number one scorer in all-time history?
I think him being able to just like wield his team out of the play-in and get into the playoffs at least, he's got to beat Memphis. He's at 3-1 lead. If he doesn't beat Memphis, I think it does kind of just, I mean, AD is healthy, so you don't really have an excuse. Your thoughts?
If he doesn't win a championship this year, I think it's just a tarnish to this talk of him being the greatest ever. I mean, you can point at that scoring all-time scorer leader all you want, but dude cannot finish in the playoffs. It's just going to be a big thing where people will continue to argue that he is the greatest ever. But when you look at the stats, as far as if you're measured by championships, he's been to the most championships, but he has not been able to deliver in all of those championships. So I think this would be a hit. He needs a deep run here. Like you said, he definitely needs to get out of the Memphis game. If he gets tossed in the first round here, dude, the NBA world will troll him. He might as well. He might as well not even have willed his team to get the play in if he was going to get bounced out by the Grizzlies. So
now I know a lot of like fanboys will talk about like Jordan and like how like he didn't get out of the first round for the first couple of years. He didn't get to the, but when he got to the NBA Finals, he won.
Yes.
When he got there, he won.
Yes.
So do you think that's why like a lot of us, and I say us, like you and I of that generation, do you think like, okay, hey dude, yeah, you were able to get your butt kicked and whatever, but when you got there, you won.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think that's that saying like, oh hey, this is why Jordan is the best?
Yeah, I mean, he delivered. He has a spotless record when it comes to NBA Finals. Every one he appeared in, he won. So if we're looking at championship runs and things like that, you look at that's a pretty good gold standard right there, knowing that you got there. And even LeBron, it can't even be in the same generation class he is. He isn't even the best player in his own generation class because you got people like Steph Curry who has just as many championships that he does with less trips to the finals.
Facts.
So anyway, so I see the Lakers getting out tonight. I see them beating Memphis. So we would see a Memphis possibly. What if it's so? Let's look at this matchup. I don't want to get too far ahead, but we'll look at this matchup here, Denver Phoenix. Before we move on, Denver Phoenix. Who do you see coming out of there?
Phoenix better come out of there.
Yeah,
Kevin Durant.
Yeah,
you went and got Kevin Durant. Like Phoenix, I believe has the most pressure due to the fact because they cashed in all their chips, kind of like what Matt Damon did in Rounders at the end of that at the beginning of the movie where he pushes all of his chips to the middle of the table and says, "Hey, I don't think you got the jacks." And he's like, "Nope, I don't have jacks. I have aces up." So that's exactly what Phoenix did. They pushed all of them to the center and said, "Hey, we're getting Kevin Durant and we're winning the championship."
All right.
I think if Phoenix does not win the championship, it is a failure on Phoenix.
Do they blow up the team after this?
You have to.
So interesting. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I agree with you. Yeah, I don't got much more to add with that, but yeah, Phoenix. I like Phoenix. I like the head coach of Phoenix. I like what he's been able to do with that team. But you're right though. If they don't win now, they're not going to be able to win next year. So
I mean, Kevin Durant beat LeBron James twice in the finals.
Yeah.
So if we possibly see a rematch in the Western Conference Finals against Kevin Durant and LeBron James, I think that would be a pretty cool match to see, but I'd like to see them both at full strength.
Right. I see you got some affiliate links here you want to share with the audience real quick. We have about 10 minutes left. So.
Oh, wow, man. It went by that fast already?
It most certainly did.
That went by super fast.
Let me find this.
So,
Where'd it go?
Which one we hitting first?
I'm trying to pull it up. Hold on a second.
All right.
It just says home on here. So let me see. Present, share screen.
Man, you're so awesome at these things. I wish I was cool.
Oh, there it is. Okay, got it.
Maybe if I had my beard again, maybe I know how to do those things because it adds just a couple of years on us.
What you got here, Joe?
So, all right. So we have some new affiliate links. As a lot of people have been seeing my YouTube channel, and so we have 2 affiliates. This one right here is presented in front of us, which is Hill and Company Firearms Solutions. They are a veteran-owned business. And you know what's even the cooler part about it, Frank?
What's that?
Is you know how people talk about guns and they want to put a particular color. This individual is an African-American active duty service member and is a veteran-owned firearm dealer that's able to customize guns, gives training, and got some really cool swag. I got one of the hats on today. This one of camo hats. They got some cool little patches here, and some little wristbands and stuff like that, you guys. Or even, let me grab it. The t-shirt. T-shirt here, and it's right here.
That's a cool t-shirt. I like that.
It really is. Hill and Company. If you're on, hit Frank up on his DM and definitely send him over a shirt or a hat so we can continue this journey. But if you use at Jive Turkey 65 on any of their products, you will receive 10% off. That's not just apparel, Frank. That's guns.
Wow.
That's
awesome. I'm gonna have to use that. I'm gonna have to use that promo code myself now.
So that's on weapons. That's on modifications. That's on anything that's on his website. If you use at Jive Turkey 65, you will get 10% off.
All right.
That is awesome.
That is awesome. So check that out. It's I'll throw the link in the chat there for anybody that's watching and want to check it out themselves. Let me throw the link and put it in the chat for everybody so they can check it out and go visit it and use your promo code. And that would be awesome. There it is. Bam. It's in the chat there for y'all. Okay. We got one more affiliate here that that JT wants to share with us. Or with you guys.
We do.
Here we go.
This next affiliate is another veteran-owned business. So I think you see where the theme is going with this. As we have our active duty service members and as they're retiring and stuff like that, obviously they want to make a difference just like anybody else does. And so why not? So this is Apex Predators Outfitters. I got their neat and nifty hat right here, you guys. As you guys see it.
Let me put it back up on the screen there.
All right, there you are. There's this sweet, awesome trucker style hat. That's the way I like my hats. I like trucker style hat. All right. I absolutely love their apparel. You can receive 10% off by using it at Jive Turkey 65 also as well. As you see the theme here, it's all Jive Turkey 65. That's on all the apparel there. Super fast. Great quality shirts. I will sit there and tell you, all right, I am very particular, and Frank, you know me as long as you've known me. I am very particular on how I wear my shirts and how things fit. And I will sit there and tell you, they have by far like I wear a lot of Under Armour gear. It has made me rethink my wardrobe on the quality of shirt that this company has here. Right now they have the tackle fishing. Right now it's on a pre-order right now till May 1st. They are sponsoring the obviously 22 suicides that happened today for veterans. All proceeds will go to them and to that organization. That's over there. Mandatory fun. So I do have that shirt coming in. Everyone knows Mandatory Fun. If you haven't seen the Facebook reels, he makes fun of the military. It's super, super awesome. So he is affiliate as well. So
and then you got all these cool designs here.
Yes. They have kids also too. They have kids shirts, hoodies, all that cool stuff. So check it out. Definitely, if you want to check it out, hit the link in there, and it is all there.
Yeah, don't forget the kids. And here's some modeling there for you guys. Take a look, see what they look like.
Maybe we'll get a golf visor.
Maybe.
And we need a golf visor. I think if we got a golf visor, it'd be good. Golf visor, you could rock it on the golf course. You know what I'm saying? And people are like, what's that Apex? I'm like, is your golf swing Apex? Do you swing towards the apex? So what is your? I guess as we tally up and we finish this stream here, Frank. Where do you where do you see the XFL? So there's been a lot of things with the XFL and USFL. So obviously, you put me in some contact with some XFL guys, and actually we do converse back and forth quite a bit on Twitter. I know you see it, and seeing the quality on their jerseys for the fans, I was kind of appalled due to the fact that I'm a huge Under Armour fan and I'm a huge Rock fan. I was really appalled at
those were some pretty looking, awful looking jerseys, by the way, the fan jerseys at least.
Yes. Your thoughts?
I wouldn't wear that. They need to go back and rethink that marketing thing because it's definitely terrible. It looks like something knockoff that you would buy in a flea market.
You better give me back my $135. You know what I'm
So
saying?
yeah, XFL and the USFL, that'll be interesting to see. I probably see them merging at some point down the road and becoming their own league where they will have the whole spring to have a full season after the Super Bowl and play for their own type of championship thing, kind of like what we saw in the NFL where the NFL merged with the AFL.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you'll see something like that down the road. And not saying that will happen like this year or next year, but maybe 5-10 years down the road, you'll see a merger to making more teams to be able to make more games to stretch a little further. And bam, you get people more marketed and more invested into. I think it'd be something pretty cool to see. So,
what about the USFL?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Okay, merging them two together, so the USFL and the XFL?
Yeah.
Hey, Rock, if you're listening, might want to talk to USFL.
Yeah, a few years down the road, that'd be something they could dominate the entire spring then.
Yeah, there's been a really good attendance, especially with the guys from DC for DC Defenders and the Beer Snake.
The Beer Snake. Beer Snake, yeah.
That's where it's at.
As long as they keep it fun and lighthearted and focused on the game, I think it's going to be a winning strategy for them. So I look forward to seeing that. I'm going to have to maybe catch a couple games because I have, to be honest, I have not really kept up much with it outside of some of the tweets that I see from you and some of the other guys on Twitter covering those leagues. So,
and what's your thoughts on it?
What?
On the game.
I just told you. I think it's as long as they continue to do what they do, it looks like a fun and way they've been doing it. It looks like it can if they can keep that same type of commitment to the style of game they're playing. I think it's going to be something that people will want to watch. And like I said, who knows? Maybe those two leagues merge together and actually starts competing for NFL dollars as well. So competition's always good because it strives them to be better at something.
So I'm gonna leave us with this one because I know you didn't see it, and I just want your reaction because I know you coach sports in the rec league and stuff like that. So I really want to turn your attention to this real quick.
The exact same question, but I'm curious for you. Do you view this season as a failure?
Oh my God. Okay, because I'm not that up. You asked me the same question last year, Eric. Okay. Do you get the promotion every year on your job? No, right? So every year you work is a failure. Yes or no? No. Every year you work towards something, towards a goal, right? Which is to get a promotion, to be able to take care of your family, to be able, I don't know, provide the house for them or take care of your parents. You work towards a goal. It's not a failure. It's steps to success. And if you've never, I don't want to make it personal. So there's always steps to it. Michael Jordan played 15 years, won 6 championships. The other 9 years was a failure. That's what you're telling me. No, I'm asking you a question. Yes or no? Okay, exactly. So why are you asking me that question? There's no failure in sports. There's good days, bad days. Some days you are able to be successful. Some days you're not. Some days it's your turn. Some days it's not your turn. And that's what sports is about. You don't always win. Some other people's going to win. And this year, somebody else is going to win. Simple as that. We're going to come back next year, try to be better, try to build good habits, try to play better, not have a 10-day stretch with playing bad basketball, and hopefully we can win a championship. So 50 years from 1971 to 2021 that we didn't win a championship, it was 50 years of failures? No, it was not. It was steps to it, and we were able to win one. Hopefully we can win another one. Sorry that I didn't want to make it personal because you asked me the same question last year, and last year I was in the right mind space to answer the question back, but I remember it.
He's absolutely right, though. Kumpuko is absolutely right. You can't count those years as failure. They're building towards something. I like how he knows his team history. Knew it was 50 years between championships. He referenced in Jordan. It took him 9 years to get to a championship, and then he wins 6 in a row. Were those 9 years failures for him? No, they were building towards something. He was building towards something, right? So no, absolutely. I love the way he handled it. I like the way he handled the reporter. I just like when reporters get put in their place by individuals when they ask outlandish questions like that. Knowing that how hard of a competitor he is and how much work he puts in every season, to ask him if it was a failure, all that work I just did, is that a failure? No, right?
And he still went out for 38 points.
Yeah. So I mean, he just somebody was better that day. It's going to happen.
I mean, think about it this way. He said, you gave me that question last year, and
Yep.
I couldn't answer the question.
Mhm.
He said I wasn't in the right space.
Right.
How many superstars or how many current superstars in 20 years have we seen them actually say something like that?
Mm-hmm. Not really ever.
So real quick, do you see possibly the shift of the American superstar possibly being taken over by our overseas counterparts, possibly in the NBA space as it comes to more of a global sport now, you think?
No, I still think it's going to be a American superstar dominated. I mean, you're going to have standouts like Giannis. Giannis, you're going to have standouts like him that are going to come in.
Luka?
You're going to be Luka, right? You're going to have
Joker?
right? Yeah, you're going to have standouts, but you're going to predominantly have more superstars here in the nation than you are globally. So I still believe it's a United States driven sport, and unlike our European counterparts, it's in our blood. As far as the sport goes, they merely adopted it versus where our culture has been drenched in it through this. So I'm thinking of kind of like almost a Bane quote from "You merely adopted the darkness. I was born into it."
That's a good one. I do like that one. That's a good one.
So, all right, man, we'll wrap this up. Get us out of here.
Hey, so like I said, you guys, we appreciate you guys coming out and spending time with us. If you enjoyed it, definitely hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Go check out those affiliates. Go check out Apex Predators Outfitters. Go check out Hill and Co. Firearm Solutions for your firearm needs. All right. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on the YouTube. And let's be frank, where can they find you? I know you're always working on some stuff. So let them know where they can find you at.
Yeah, you guys can find me over on my Twitter, which is Let's Be Frank. You can find me over on YouTube. I have Uniquely Us, and of course I have Let's Be Frank Culture and Let's Be Frank Politics. Basically, what it is, you want a politic coverage. That's your channel. You want to check out some stuff that we do covering entertainment stuff. Let's Be Frank Culture. If you're looking for faith-based content, that's Uniquely Us. So there's something for everyone.
Well, like we always say, it's been a pleasure. We thank everyone for showing up. Let's be frank. We always appreciate you coming on. It's been a while, but we crushed through an hour, and that is it. So we appreciate it, and we thank you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you inviting me on again tonight.
Always. And